Hey, rock stars! I can't believe the Sunshade Expo is right around the corner next week at Anaheim, California. So if you are anywhere near the California area, please join us in going to the Sunshade Expo, and you can be a guest at the Exciting Windows Conference too. So if you want any information about that, those conferences are going on next week from September 24th, already right around the corner, through to the weekend to Sunday, whatever day that is. It starts on the 24th, Sunshade Expo, and then Exciting Windows. But I'm so excited. I'm going to be teaching the Make a Friend 7-step selling system, started by my friends John Brissett and Steve Burston, and giving that training live in person in Anaheim just before the Exciting Windows Conference. So if you want any information about it, comment below, send us a message. We'll be happy to get you the registration that you need to be in class and see me live and in person. I'm also going to be talking to the Exciting Windows CEOs. That's what the conference coming up is about, the 7-step selling process step of eyeball estimating. So we can get you the confidence that you need in your numbers. Speaking of numbers, I'm super stoked to have Michele Williams today. And we're going to be talking all about numbers and the ways that she can help your business get more numbers, get more profitable, more money in the bank. So I'm going to have her jump in and we'll get going on her new programs and all about helping business owners be confident in their numbers. All those good things is what Michele can help you with. And I know she's been a huge support over the years, and someone that I have valued for a long time. Hey, Michele.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited for this. We are normally at conferences like back and forth and, meeting all sorts of people, but now we get a whole half hour to ourselves. Well, and everyone watching. I'm excited to have you. So I want to start with your background and how we met. We met at a conference, or I don't know, would you say it was a conference? It was like a
Yeah,
workshop,
it was a
maybe?
small workshop.
Yeah,
Yep. That was
workshop.
like,
And
what, 2017, maybe
yeah,
2016, 17,
yeah,
like that?
2017, right before I opened Behind the Design. And really, and I've mentioned this once before, but I'm going to say it again loud and proud. You have completely changed my life in the window covering industry since that first day that we met, because I used to be so terrified of numbers. I would run away from them. I couldn't even come close to like putting a tip together for my waiter that I absolutely loved. Like I wouldn't do numbers. And when we first met, you had such a straightforward but simplistic way of putting it and going, Jessica, you're overcomplicating it. Just, it's simpler than that. And it was the fear that was building up inside of me that just ran away from it. And I just love how you put it in simple terms that we can understand, and give people confidence that thought they were completely hopeless.
Well, thank you for saying that. I had no idea that it had made that type of an impact on you. I don't think we've ever really had that conversation. I do remember that particular conference, though, and I was the only one really speaking numbers. It was a
Yeah.
lot of conversation about sales and market, all the other pieces of business that I think sometimes get the highlight. But I was afforded a beautiful opportunity to share about the power of the numbers. And what's interesting, Jessica, we all kind of have our view. I always laugh at the fact that what I know about you is based on the story that I tell myself about you, and what you know about me. It's true for anybody, right? But the way that I saw that conference is you were coming in, you were still working within a family business, and you had some big dreams and some big goals, and you were almost bursting at the seams, if you will, to kind of birth your own ideas in a way, and it was mostly around employees and around retaining employees and hiring good employees and providing for them and educating them. And I just remember it being like, it was one of those things that when I first met you, it was such a burning passion. I
Mm.
don't know if you remember, but I told you and a couple of others told you, you need to go do that because it was so big. But what I also noticed, which was interesting, and I'm sharing this because I think others will resonate, it wasn't a number challenge necessarily that you had because you were spouting off statistics and numbers
Yeah.
with regards to the areas that you felt very confident in, that employee retaining or how many times the installer went out and what happened here, like, and the education as it aligned. I mean, you were spouting numbers left and right. And so when you then said to me, like, I'm having a block or a fear, I think a lot of people do that in our industries of either interior design, custom window treatments. We are dealing with numbers, if we think about it, the entirety of our business time,
Yeah.
from measuring, quoting, multiplying, dividing, how much time is it going to take, how many miles is it going to be? Like, it's all numbers and math,
Yeah.
right? So that's not the problem. This isn't a multiplication and a division
Mm.
problem. It's more of the fact, I think, for many, that they think the numbers will just work out.
Mm.
If I just do what I'm supposed to do, if I
Yeah.
just market like I'm supposed to market, if I sell like I'm supposed to sell, if I show up, and in a perfect world where everything has been strategized and aligned, it is true. If you'll just follow the plan, it works out. The difference is they don't have a plan to follow.
Mm.
So they're following disjointed plans, if
Yeah.
you will. I'll give you an example. We have people that I hear all the time. They're like, oh my gosh, I was told that my marketing should be 20% of total income.
Mm.
And I'm like, that's huge. What about 20% of gross profit? And then even when they look at that, they don't look at it to figure out what is the return on that investment? Like, am I getting money back for what I'm pouring in? And if the money's not coming in, when do I stop marketing either in that area or in that way? And so what happens is they're so connected to that 20% of gross profit that
Mhm.
they don't know what else is connected to it. So they don't understand the ripple effect. And we've had some that have literally drained their entire savings on bad marketing, just as an example, because they were trying to hit the percentage that they were supposed to
Yeah.
hit versus understanding how the numbers played together, having a very clear indication of if I do this, this should be the return. And when it's not, I better stop doing this or adjust it. It's that interconnectivity of the numbers in the story of our business that many of us don't know how to tell.
And what I love about what you're saying is how much control then you have over the numbers because it's not one size fits all. Every individual company has their own goals, they have their own sets of challenges and makeup of the company. And so you can take these principles and apply it and customize it, but then still be within your control of where you want to be.
Yeah, I was teaching. We had Scarlet Thread held our strategic planning event for our clients a week ago. And one of the things that we talk about over and over and over is if you think about it, when you go into a closet to hang up a dress, a shirt, a pair of pants, we are looking for a rod to hang it on.
Mm.
So if you think about all of your clothing pieces on a hanger as ideas or as tasks or as goals or the things that we're going to do, we have to have a very sturdy plan to hook them on.
Mhm.
That's what we're missing is the plan to hook it on. So we've got all the great ideas. We've got multiple pieces and parts. We're busy, 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 but we're not thinking strategically about how all these things and like what goes together. We need like a granimals for business, right? This goes to this. Do you remember granimals?
Yes.
But we're walking into a lot of things, Jessica, a lot of yearly plans of just doing the same
Mm.
things the same way, maybe making one or two tweaks, but not really having that legacy. I know you have been doing some interviews with different legacy
Mhm.
businesses, family businesses. And, you know, there's nothing that says we can't be the beginning of our own
Yeah.
legacy, but that means we've really got to think strategically. on how does this business outlive us? How does it handle a management turn? And even if we don't want to go that way, you're not going to go wrong thinking that way, because it's allowing you, kind of like E-Myth Revisited, to put certain cycles in place, certain controls in place, so that when you make some of these financial decisions, they're not just gut reactions or some statistic that we took that we don't even know how it applies to what we're doing.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And it's staying on top of it, it sounds like, not just putting a number, a goal out there and then revisiting it at the end of the year and going, okay, good, bad, did I do it? Not, it's constantly looking at it and being able to tweak and have your control throughout the year.
Yeah. So what I love to do is to have like a deep dive plan. Let's just strategize the whole thing. First, we start in my businesses, we start with a business strategy. Then we go, what is the marketing strategy? What is the operation strategy? What is the hiring strategy? What is the financial strategy? Because all of those independent functions of a company have to support the strategy of where the company is going. So if we say the company is going over here, and this is what we have to, if you think about going on a trip, this is where I'm going, this is what I have to pack, this is the car I need to rent, this is the hotel I'm going to stay at. Like, we're making those plans, but they're hinged on where we're going. So
Yeah.
the same holds true in our business. But we can't take and stop and take the time, Jessica, to do that deep, deep, deep dive all the time. We would be so absorbed in numbers, down the proverbial rabbit hole, work would never get done. So what we do is we do that deep work, we make the plan. Then we set OKRs and KPIs. OKRs are objectives and key results for our listeners, and KPIs are key performance indicators. So what we're saying is, here's the objective, here's what I'm expecting to get, and what are the KPIs that I can check to see if I'm on track. Now I can check around the business to see if we are. Think about when you get in a car. We don't get in our car, and every time we get in it, we don't walk around with a tire pressure gauge. We don't check the dipstick of the oil. We're not like trying to figure out how much is in the gas tank. We're not looking at the water for the windshield wipers. We're not looking at that. What do? We sit down and we look at a dashboard that gives us an indicator if something is outside of the normal range. That's what we need in our business, is something that says, here's a quick and dirty, tell me how to look at it. Help me understand, am I in the range of what I said I wanted / needed, or am I not in the range? And then if I'm not, I know where to go look. It's a diagnostic. And I think many of us are missing the diagnostics. So then what happens is we think we don't have a way to know. And if I go dig deep, it's going to take too much time. So I'll do that later, and later never comes.
Yeah, that is so true. And so the time aspect of it, like you said, if you're going down the rabbit hole, you could spend so much time getting in and analyzing, over analyzing, not taking action. But that's where, your system Metrique comes in, to be able to add a snapshot, look at these numbers and not have to, like when I was at the family business, for hours, weeks. I mean, our business planning would be a month long, because for hours a day, I'd be doing hand equations of what our budgeting and our numbers would have to be. Now you've developed this incredible software that just shows it as a snapshot. So how does that work? How do you get that to all come alive for a business?
Yeah, so Matrix Solutions is the brainchild of my family would say it's like the way Michelle's brain works. It truly is my little baby here. But I'll tell you what happened. And Jessica, that is, I've been teaching pricing, I've been teaching profitability, I have been educating around the concepts of the drivers in our business and money and KPIs and profit first and all of the things since like 2007 and 8. And in my signature class, Pricing Without Emotion and Understanding Your Financials and then Master Your Profit, I kept building spreadsheets because they're all about the numbers, right? I'm teaching you how to do it. And then I was giving a bunch of spreadsheets. So my spreadsheets had spreadsheets, and then I'm working with a client and they're like, I need to understand project profitability. All right, I need to understand what's the potential of what's coming in. Okay, so we're constantly, I need to do commissions, I need to pay bonuses, and so I'm constantly building spreadsheet after spreadsheet. Well, what happens is when we use that, nothing wrong with that, right? We've all lived on that. The challenge is if they're not in one place and if you can't see how things work together, then they're all over the place and they're not really useful. So we've lost them.
Mm.
So what I did was I developed Metrique Solutions, which is it's an application that you would have. So it's a SaaS-based application, and you go in there and you load what you want to have happen for the year. So your financial goals.
Mm.
You take those financial goals, you've stress test them, so you make sure that the billable capacity that you need to support it is there. Like you've done all that heavy lifting in the back,
Yeah.
right? So you set your goals. We take those goals and create KPIs from them and create budgets from them. Now, every month when you load your data from QuickBooks or from whatever software you're using and you load it, it immediately checks it against what you said was your budget for the year, aggressive budgets, conservative budgets. It automatically tells you if you were above, below the KPIs that you set. So you start to see, we even load balance sheets and we can tell you your working capital. We can tell you how much money you have to invest. Like it's all right there in a way that we can read it and take it in more quickly than if we were looking at a flat lay of a P&L or a balance sheet and we're trying to look at the numbers and divide the numbers and figure out the numbers. And then what we've also done is because our businesses are more than just let's look at the numbers. Like if that were it, that would be really, really simplistic. So what we've done is gone in and built modeling tools so that companies can model out what might happen. What would it look like if I hired another person? What is my overhead burden and how would it be shared with another person? What is my employee burden? And then when do I make money and break even on that person billing out at X rate? How many hours a week do they need to work just for me to pay them? And how much do we make on the other side of that? So now I can set their billable capacity. What about commissions and bonuses? We can pay those out. We have all those calculators in there. Project profitability. Run rate, I call that the Luann Nagara. She would always say, how long is this money going to last me? And so you can put in the money and put in the time frame and it will tell you how long it's going to last.
Mm.
We have startup cost calculators in there. We have income planning. Like I think I'm going to sell 3 more jobs like this and 2 more jobs like that. What is the profit that I can expect to come in
Mm.
so that we can start to, forward project where everything is. And most of the dashboard is done in visual manner so that you can see it with pictures and colors, which attacks the brain or allows the brain to understand that information in a different way. Doesn't attack it, but it allows the brain to understand the information in a completely different way than a black and white number.
Yeah. Well, and of course, in our creative worlds, we always like some pretty things to look at. There's nothing worse to me than looking at a very boring software that looks like it was developed in like the early time of the internet. So I'm all for a very clean interface, but all the numbers, all the statistics that you just threw out, it's so unbelievable that you can get that at a blink, a click of a button. Once you've built it in there, what your expectations are and those comparisons, it saves so much time in the planning. And like when we work with customers on the process development side, I always start with what are your numbers, and if they're not there, like it's hard for us to start with them. So having this foundation, having it is so critical to the business. Beyond working with any other consultants, it's healthy for your business for you to know where your numbers are at all times and what you can project for the future.
It's so interesting. I've been hearing a lot lately where people will say to me, I know, and they almost say it, I'm going to say kind of sarcastically. They're like, I know I'm supposed to know my numbers, but I don't even know what that means. Right? And I get it. I hear what their heart is saying. It's saying, people keep telling us to do that, but we don't have the skill and tool to even know what it is you're talking about doing.
Yeah.
And so what I'm talking about at the most basic level is looking at our top 5 numbers, which are our anchor points on a P&L. That's what is the revenue that came in for whatever the time frame is, month, quarter, half year, whatever. What is that? How does it compare to what I needed it to be?
Mm.
What my cost of goods? Not only what is that number, but how does it compare to the total income as a percentage? Because you're going to make your business plans based on my product costs are going to be X percent of the business income. So how am I tracking? Gross profit, again, not only a number because we have to have the number to run the company, but what is it as a percentage of income? Like these numbers are showing up fast for you. Then looking at the expenses, are we overspending or underspending? Budgets are simply us telling money in advance where it's going to go. We're making a decision in advance on how we spend our money. That's all that a budget is. So then what happens is when a cost comes in that's not budgeted, we can stop and make a decision. The question then becomes, if we do this, what else is going to be impacted? Or if we've already done it, what is going to happen next? How do I make it up? Or was it a great one and now our revenue is skyrocketing, right? It could go in either direction. It's just a very quick and dirty way to see those top five numbers. And then the last number is net profit. And net profit does a lot of heavy lifting in our businesses that many young business owners don't recognize yet. And I say that because as a young business owner, when I started mine, I didn't know because in large companies, I'm not handling the net profit for those companies. Right. So when I worked corporate, I might be handling an expense center. I wasn't handling revenue because I wasn't in sales, or so I certainly wasn't handling revenue or cost of goods. I was working in development, so we were expenses. But now when I own my own company, that net profit, it does a lot of things. It helps pay the owner, so either their salary or a distribution. It has to pay the taxes for state, federal, and employment on top of that. It's out sometimes self-employment IRAs or 401ks or things like that, bonus payments, profit that's left in the company so that we have money held back. It covers debt replenishment or debt repayment, inventory replenishment, and we're also using that money for capital investments for the future. So if we look at that net profit and we don't understand the heavy lifting in the job that it's doing, it's easy to be like, we're making so much money and make a decision when that money is probably going to be spent somewhere else. And so, if we're not looking at it, we're not able to parse out the dollars and we're just looking at it in chunks, it's so hard to make decisions.
Yeah, especially when you're just at that surface level, it just is smoke and mirrors at that top line. There's so much more underneath the surface. And going back to our customization, being able to control what your goals are and where it needs to be, follow an exact percentage for each thing. Yes, there's standards and stuff like that, but having it in front of you allows you to at least question it and see if it's necessity, to see if you need to do something about it or if it's right where it needs to be. And that's something that you helped me understand from a budgeting perspective. I was trying to literally account for every single dollar that could possibly go into the business when look at what you spent and then start asking questions about it. Is it having that visibility very quickly allow you to do those things and make cleaner and more strong decisions because it's what you need to make that decision.
Right. And that goes back to that strategic planning, which is like the bar in the closet that we're hanging everything on. So we are first making the decisions on, like, for you, who do you want to be? What do you want to do? What are the perfect offerings that you're going to put out there? Who's the ideal person that you're going to sell to? That work still happens. And then you align your financial plan and budget and market strategies and everything along with the plan. So they're not, a lot of people, one or the other, they make a plan and write down a few goals, but they don't look at all the money that goes with that plan. Or a lot of situations.
Oh, I froze. So what is interesting to me is having the control, seeing it in front of you, then needing the strategy to go with it. And like you said, some people, when they hear, I got to look at the numbers, they don't even know what that phrase means, just like they don't even know what it means to be a CEO, a CFO, a COO. And so in the world of finance, you've got your CFO. what should owners know? What should they expect about that CFO role, and how you have services to support that?
Yeah, so to me, a CFO is somebody who is giving you financial information about your business today and looking forward to help you determine what the business needs to do financially to move forward with the strategic plan, the 1, 3, 5 year plan. And so Matrique is built to do a lot of that. And then I love to step in and say, let me help you. So what we have set up is a couple of things. We have my CFO to Go program. I actually run that, bring in the business owner. We even bring in their accountant, their bookkeeper if they want to, like whoever's on their financial team. It's just a different way to help them look at things so that many times they can go off and do it by themselves. So they understand what they're looking at. They know how to manage the numbers. They've got that mindset that they've kind of adapted, and then they can go forward. I also have in the spring, we're going to be, or January, we're going to be offering a course on how to build a strategic plan.
Cool.
Blessings. You get to go do it, and here's what you can do. If somebody says, I don't really know how to do that, or I don't know how to do it the first time, I want to have some help with that, great. We'll help you with CFO to Go. The whole to go is so that if you can go do it on your own. Look, I'm here to empower and impact and encourage people. I'm not here to keep people on my dime. So the more that I can, and I mean that, the more that I can share with them what to do and empower them to do it, they can do it, and I'm happy with that. I'll just teach the next person. Sometimes people are building and it's building so fast around them that they're like having to get their arms around it, and they want deeper support, and we have that as well.
That's incredible. And just so that you can hit it from all sides, however they need that assistance, you're there. And it's not just looking at your profit and loss, it's not just looking at your balance sheet. Yeah, that's a critical component, that's the foundation of it, but you can strategize on so many different layers because it all gets rooted in that finance. And so you need the puzzle pieces, like I call it, all to make the big picture.
Exactly. And our goal is to step in wherever the puzzle piece is missing or wherever they don't know how to put them together. Because some people come in and they've got a deep financial knowledge and a very thought out strategy, and they just need some pieces. Some are coming in with a scattered piece all over the place. And as I say, they have no picture on the front of the box. So let's help you create the picture on the front of the box first. That's our strategy. So then we know how to put the pieces together, because I've taken my business apart and put it back.
So once you have the plan then, and owners feeling confident and they're excited to put this plan in place, some of the things down the line when you have employees and you're growing your team and maybe it is scaling so quickly, so you're having to chase it. Sometimes there, I feel, is a I don't know if it's a self-conscious thing. I don't know if it's, just lack of confidence, but owners can get into this space where they feel like they're either getting comments or they're just having a feeling that employees see them as making all the money and not giving what the employee's worth is. And one of the things that I had learned when we first met and we talked about profit first, and I read the book and I absolutely loved it. In the book, they talked about teaching the team, teaching the employees the financial side. And so how can we do it in a way that makes the owner feel good, that they're not giving away like all the secrets that they don't want to do, but it also makes the team understand that there's so many layers to the finances that it's not just taking that revenue and spreading it even across everyone that works there.
Yeah, we need a whole nother live for that. But I'll tell you, it's called open book accounting. And what we really do, I teach my clients how to sit down and have that conversation, how to say to them, this is what it looks like. And what you do, your job impacts the P&L here, here, and here. So in other words, if we're selling something, but we order the wrong thing, we've just impacted cost of goods, which impacted gross profit and reduced the expenses or the bonuses at the end. So it's the, what is it that you do plus and minus, and how does it affect the financial outcomes in the company? And so when they start to understand that, the other thing I asked people to do was write a job description for net profit. Remember, I talked about the heavy lifting that net profit
Yeah.
does? The same way that they would write a personal job description, I'm like, give me a job description for net profit. Tell me everything that has to come out of that bucket. Because when you can do that, that's what Profit First is actually doing, is taking net profit and breaking it into all the buckets for all the heavy lifting that it has to do. So if we have a job description and we start allocating funds, we can see very quickly that the money's not where people think it is. And it happens a lot in an industry where there are millions on the table. Employees start to see the millions coming through the business and think that their pay isn't in alignment. And it may be that the owner's not getting paid anywhere near what they're getting paid
Right.
to do that job. So having them understand a financial kind of outline of how things work is super helpful.
And what I love about this open concept is it's open in communication. You're training, you're teaching, so that they understand
Right.
the bigger picture and how they're a part of it. And this goes, very strongly for designers, installers, those that are severely impacting if a mismeasure happened and they ordered the wrong thing and stuff like that. So it's even more critical to have these conversations with your teams so that they understand that it is a team. It is all the parts and pieces that are going to make the whole, and they are a big part of making that happen.
Absolutely. And you're not having to give away all of the finer details of all the numbers. It's more of the concepts of it. But if people start to pull together as a team and they see where every single person fits in, it also gives them a healthy respect for all of the teammates and the work that they're doing and how that P&L is impacted. So then if they see a teammate falling down, they would want to help them pick it up, because everybody is going to be impacted at the end of the day.
Yeah. That's so true. It does. It does increase that teamwork aspect. Well, thank you so much, Michele. How can we find more information about Matrique and the CFO program and Scarlet Thread Consulting?
Oh, thank you, Jessica. So my goal is to make a huge impact for as many people as I can and give them what I can. So you can find me on Instagram at Scarlet Thread ATL and Matrique Solutions, 2 different Instagrams. You can find me on LinkedIn under Michele Williams. I also have Matrique Solutions and Scarlet Thread out there. You can also find me on Facebook under Scarlet Thread and Scarlet Thread Consulting and Matrique Solutions. And then my website, Scarlet Thread Consulting and Matrique Solutions, is all the same. I'm pretty much everywhere. If you want to find me, you can find me.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Michele. I really enjoyed this. These are great tips to help us create a good foundation, know our numbers, feel comfortable with them. And it is just incredible, all the work that you are doing to spread that across the industry.
Well, thank you for having me, Jessica.
Bye, Michele.
Bye.